Well, hello, DCO Nation. Welcome back to another DCO Live. Guys, looks like we got quite a few into the chat tonight. Russell, Heath, Dean, Steve, Everett. Great to see you guys. Hope you guys are doing well. Everybody survived the snow a couple of weeks ago. This has been quite the change this week. I want to say it got almost close to 70, like 67, 68 degrees today. It was fantastic outside, and looks like the weekend is going to be pretty nice too. If any of you guys have been out fishing this week, throw it up there in the chat and let me know how things have went. Um, so tonight I need to start out and let you guys all know that I was scheduled to have Katie Joe on, who is the Pluff Mud Princess. She texted me this morning and she is down with the flu. And she said that she probably wouldn't be able to make it. Her head wasn't really that clear, a little bit foggy. So, to carry on a conversation was probably going to be, probably not the best for her. So we are going to get her back on probably in a week or two. I'll catch back up with her the beginning of the week, see how she's feeling so that we can get her on here and have a good conversation with her. I'm actually pretty excited about it. I want to thank Carrie Browning with Release Over 20 for making an introduction for me to Katie Joe down at the Hadrolls Point Expo. So he actually said, "Hey, listen, there's somebody that I want you to meet," and we took about 5 minutes and we chatted and reached out to her, and she said that she would be, happy to come on and talk a little bit of fishing. So, guys, we will have her back on rescheduled here in the next couple of weeks. But there is something a topic that I've been kind of prepping for. It was actually going to be in a week or two. But, you know, Steve's been working on his boat. It's almost done. Okay, good, man. Yeah, I know you've been working on it for a little while. So, again, guys, if you got any questions, comments, throw them up there. This is, wide open, the Wild West, live chat. So, guys, if you got anything to say, throw it up in there, and I'll get it out to the group. So, this is the time of the year where a lot of guys are, looking at kayaks and wanting to buy kayaks, maybe getting off of the bank and getting out into the water. Kayak fishing has just absolutely exploded. I'm going to say over the last 10, 15 years. I mean, the industry has absolutely exploded. Hey, Angler Issues is on. Hey, great to see you, man. He says, "Hey, Chris, I'm running behind schedule, but should be down there in a couple of weeks." Good, good. Shoot me a message when you get down here. So you haven't missed much. We had a little bit of snow, but it's finally pretty nice. But the topic tonight is basically, choosing a perfect kayak for you. So if you're in the market of buying a new kayak or looking to upgrade your kayak, I want to kind of go over, some things so that you guys can make a really good decision, like length, width, does color matter, budget, and then the question I get most often is weight capacity, and I'm going to explain weight capacity. So hopefully you guys can all understand what that means. Hey, Howard, great to see you, buddy. Appreciate you jumping on tonight. So if you guys have any questions about kayaks tonight, or even any general fishing questions, if you guys got anything, again, I may hit the fishing questions towards the end, but we'll kind of go over the kayak stuff first. So let's kind of go over the length of a kayak. So how long should the kayak be that you guys get? Well, longer kayaks tend to be faster and more stable. Okay, so if you're looking for speed to maybe get across the lake, if you do a lot of tournament fishing, maybe you're going to want a longer kayak, maybe a 12 or a 14 footer. And if you're going to be standing up doing a lot of sight fishing, then a longer kayak. is going to be more stable for you. So that is one of those things that, you are just going to have to figure out what type of fishing that you are going to want to do. They've got everywhere from, 10, 12, 14 footers. They do have a little bit smaller kayaks, but those are like recreational stuff. And then along with the length, you get the width of the kayak. So the kayak that I have is a Hoodoo Impulse 120. So the 120 stands for it is 12 feet long, and mine is 34 inches wide. It's actually like 33.75, so it's not quite 30, but I just call it 34 inches, whatever. So the wider the kayak, obviously, the more stable it's going to be. So a long, wide kayak is going to be great if you're going to be standing up doing a lot of sight fishing. My kayak is very stable. I can stand up in it, no problem whatsoever. I know you guys who have the Hobie PDAs, the Hobie PA14s, the pro anglers, those things are very stable. It's a deeper kayak. It's wide. It's long. You can stand up with absolutely no problem whatsoever. So Joe Bell jumped on. Hey, great to see you, man. I haven't seen you in a while. Um, Length and width is something that goes hand in hand. If you are not looking to, stand up, if you're a river fisherman, if you do a lot of river fishing, maneuverability is going to be your biggest concern, getting around rocks or tree laydowns or snags and things like that. So a shorter kayak is going to be something that you're going to want. So maybe a 10 or a 10 and a half, or maybe even a 9.5 foot kayak would fit your needs a lot better than a 12 or 14 footer trying to maneuver in a river, or especially a river that has a lot of shallow, rapid areas that you may have to get out and drag this kayak across, some rocks or whatnot. A 10 footer is going to be a lot easier to drag across those rocks than a 14 footer. So again, just kind of something to kind of keep in mind. And so length and width. So that is, you're going to have to figure out, what you are going to, or how you are going to be fishing. So the first kayak that I got was a Hoodoo Element, and it was a 10 footer. And great kayak. I love it. Excuse me. I haven't taken it out in a while, but my dad has used it. My wife Lefty has used it. She loves it. Very maneuverable. It is, I want to say it is almost 32, maybe even 33 inches wide. Heath, I know that you've got a Hoodoo Element. Leave me a message in the text and see if you can remember what the width is of your Hoodoo. Because I want to say maybe it's 32 or 33 inches. I can actually stand up in it. It's a little wobbly. It's not the best. I can't pop up in it. If I'm in a shallow area and I use something to stabilize myself, I can stand up in my element, and then kind of get my balance. But the Impulse, I know you guys have watched my videos where I can just pretty much stand right up and pop right up, and without any problem whatsoever. Heath said, I believe they're 31 inches. Yeah, okay. So, still a little bit on the narrow side. So again, another thing that kind of comes with the width of the kayak is you can bring more fishing gear. It's wider. You got more room. You're going to be more comfortable in a little bit wider kayak. So again, comfort, stability comes with the width of that kayak. So hopefully, that gives you guys a little bit of a starting point with length and width. So what about color? Does color of your kayak matter? I actually jumped onto the internet and I threw that out there and I tried to see if color matters. And there was a couple of little blurbs in some articles that said that, let me see, I actually put it up here, that said there are many anglers that believe that bright colors like yellow and orange in kayaks are the best to attract fish, while white colors or light colors might scare fish away. There is no scientific evidence of this, but I did think that was very interesting, and I found it in a couple of articles. Now, how they're gauging whether orange attracts fish or not, I have no idea, but I wanted to throw that out there to you. I thought it was interesting and a little bit funny that, hey, orange is going to bring fish in, but whiter or light, kayaks may scare them away. I don't think that's any type of a thing. So, but the one thing that everybody was in agreement is your visibility on the water. So when I got my Hoodoo Impulse, I went with that. It's called Lime Truce. So it's that highlighter light green color. And I picked it specifically for visibility. Any of you guys who have been in Murrells Inlet or out on the ICW or any of these areas that have a lot of boat traffic, visibility is absolutely imperative. So safety out on the water and being visible to these boats that are just flying through the marsh is, I can't stress it enough. You guys know how I am about safety, and that is the reason why I went with that Lime Truce. That highlighter green color is only for safety. So again, color really doesn't matter. Pick something out that looks cool to you, but always kind of keep in mind that safety factor. So now let's go ahead and let's jump into the question that I get most often. Yeah, Steve, absolutely. Flags. So that is one of the topics that I'm going to jump into next week is safety gear. So yeah, along with the color of your kayak, having a flag, whether it be an orange flag or what flags do is produce movement, and movement will catch people's eyes. So just don't have a stick. A lot of guys will just have the stick with the 360 light on the top. Make sure you have something that will catch the wind, move around a little bit, because that extra movement will catch people's eyes. So yeah, Steve, thanks for throwing that up in there. So make sure you guys, have a flag for, to coincide with the color of your kayak. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's jump into, excuse me. The question that I get most often when it comes to kayaks, and it is, hey, I'm a big guy. How big of a kayak do I need to get? What kind of weight capacity do these things have? Well, we are going to go over and I'm going to explain to you how the manufacturer tells you usable weight capacity. So that takes into account you as the angler, the weight of the kayak, and your gear. And I am going to pull up some specific examples that I went to multiple kayak manufacturers. I'm going to share my screen here, guys. So as you guys can see on the screen here, this is the Old Town Sportsman PDL 120. So when you pull up this right here and you go to the specs, this is what it's going to give you. Excuse me. It's going to give everything from the color, the activity is for fishing and hunting, the styles sit on top. Propulsion is it's a pedal drive, okay? And then when you come down here, you see total weight capacity. Hopefully you guys can see my cursor. And that says 500 pounds, okay? Then down here, it says assembled boat weight, 116 pounds. So that is what this kayak weighs fully assembled. And right here in the middle, it says usable weight capacity is 384 pounds. So that 384 pounds, you need to take into account your weight and your fishing gear. So to make the math easy, if you're a 200-pound guy, you can subtract that from 384, and that leaves you 184 pounds worth of gear you can put into the Old Town before the maneuverability of this kayak is significantly diminished. Okay, and as far as fishing gear goes, it can be anything from as simple as your rods and reels and your lures and your tackle boxes to a trolling motor, your battery. Okay, that is all significant weight that you guys are going to need to take into account. Now, Old Town is one of the few that will give you usable weight capacity in its specs. Bonafide is the other one, which we'll take a look at. The other ones, you will need to do the math to figure out usable weight. So let's go on to the next one. This is the Hobie Mirage Outback. Okay, it's a 12-footer. Right here, the length is 12 foot. Okay, and then right here, the capacity. Okay, this is the weight, 425 pounds. All right. Fully rigged weight, so that's everything inside that assembled kayak, from the seat to the pedal drive and everything, is going to be 103 pounds. Okay, then you take that 103 minus 425, so 425 minus 103, you have 322 usable pounds of weight for that kayak. So again, 322 pounds can be, all your fishing gear, batteries for, your fish finders. If you're going to put a little Newport or Torpedo on the back, anything like that, that is how you find your usable weight. So again, moving on. This is the Hoodoo. This is the Hoodoo Impulse 120. This is my kayak right here. So again, this is a 12-footer, a 35-inch width. The weight capacity is 440 pounds. The weight of the kayak that is fully assembled, now it says hull only, but it has the seat in it, because that's the only thing that has in it. So I have 340 pounds to work with. Again, that 340 pounds is the pedal drive, it's my battery for my fish finder, it's my fishing gear, but that's how you find that usable weight. Here's the Titan X. This is the 10-footer. Okay? Up here at the top, you see capacity all the way up here at the right-hand side. I don't know if you guys can read that or not, but that says 475 pounds. Fully rigged out weight was 149. So again, 475 minus 149, you have 326 pounds to work with. Okay? And to go back to, if you're a 200-pound guy, then you have 126 pounds to fit in this kayak before it really starts to affect the maneuverability of these kayaks. The last one is the Bonafide, and this is the P127. This is the, again, their 12-foot kayak. This is the only kayak, and I'm going to blow this up a little bit, or the only kayak manufacturer that has this note right here. And it says, capacity is determined by taking kayak weight plus the paddler weight, which is you, plus gear weight. Okay, that determines your weight capacity. So you're adding all of those together to get your weight capacity. It also says Bonafide determines capacity by where the performance of the kayak becomes very diminished. Okay, so that is where, this is the only manufacturer that has this right here. And I would actually like to point out that Chad Hoover with KBF works with Bonafide very closely, and he did a video on weight capacity of kayaks. And so if you go on to YouTube, watch that. But he got with Bonafide and to get this note put on its specifications, so you guys know what the weight capacity is. So 175 pounds is total capacity. Fully weighted out was 120. So 475 minus 120, you have 355 pounds to work with. And again, if you're a 200-pound guy, you have 155 pounds. Okay, so that is how you get that weight capacity. Hopefully, I had enough examples and kind of beat that into everybody's head, the best I could. But that is how you determine those weight capacities, and it is really important that you know that kind of stuff. Howard through, hang on, let's take Russell first. Russell said, can you talk about carts? Yeah, so let's talk about carts real quick. So there are several carts out on the market, and so you just have to go shop at what you want. So getting your kayak either down the ramp or on the sandbar, instead of dragging that kayak across the bottom and scraping up the bottom of your kayak, a cart near the rear of the kayak, strapped down, you pick it up and you wheel it to where you want to go, is absolutely invaluable. I do know that Heath has a kayak where the back wheels are built into the stern or the back of the kayak, and Heath loves those. He just picks it up and just wheels this thing anywhere he wants to go, and he just launches right off of it. Where me, being the old caveman that I am, I've got to take my cart off. I got to, put it in the back of the truck. I got to do that, and then I shove off, and, and it's that extra step. So, there are kayaks that have built-in wheels. And there's also kayaks that the wheels stay on the kayak where, and I can't, the name of them, oh, they're called boondock wheels, where the brackets are on the kayak, and you can actually lift up the back and put them at a 45-degree angle up when you're out on the water, and then when you go to land, you pull them out, put them down, and your wheels are always with you. I believe they're called boondocks. Somebody double check me, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think they're called boondocks. But yes, Yak Tack makes a good cart. Sea Tug makes a good cart. That's what I have. There are all kinds of carts. Now, there is a cart, Boondocks landing gear. Yeah, thanks, Keith. Appreciate that, bud. John said, love the Boondock wheels. So, yeah, I'm actually thinking about maybe getting some. Yeah, so those things look fantastic. There is one type of cart that I would probably steer away from, and that is the cart that has the two rods that go up through your scupper holes. The main problem with that is those rods can wear inside those scupper holes, and you can actually crack your kayak because of the pressure and the weight on that scupper hole cart. I used to have one. I don't have it anymore. I don't use it. The best kind is to have what I call a platform, where it's flat, you have your wheels, and then your kayak just sits on top of it, and you have a strap that goes around it that secures it down to the cart. That way you're not putting anything up through those scupper holes. Okay? So just be aware of the scupper hole carts. I know that I think it's Hobie has scupper hole carts, and I knew that they were having a lot of issues years ago where they were cracking inside those scupper holes and guys were getting leaks. So, a Sea Tug or a Yak Attack cart, the platform carts, they'll work on Hobies just as good as anything else. So, just be aware of that. So, yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, the cart was a great great question. Thank you. Howard asked, what do you think about stabilizers for kayaks? Yeah, absolutely. So I've been out on the water and I've seen guys with the stabilizers out on the back. And so if you have a shorter kayak like the Hoodoo Element that's only 10 foot, and you put the stabilizers on the back, it really does stabilize that kayak very, very well. Now, I have never been in a kayak with stabilizers in it, so I don't know if you can pop right up in them or not. So yeah, I don't know about that aspect, but I do know if you have a kayak that has, a lot of rock to it and you don't feel real stable or safe in it, go get yourself some stabilizers. I know that Hoodoo already has pre-drilled holes for their stabilizers that you can get. But yeah, absolutely. I don't use them. The kayak that I have is stable and I feel very safe in mine, but that is just an extra layer of stability to a kayak. Absolutely. Keith says, I have the Wilderness Systems cart and it's awesome. I don't know that one, but I'm definitely going to look that one up. I appreciate you throwing that up in there. But yeah, guys, so if you have any other questions about the weight capacity, hopefully I, again, beat that in there pretty well. So the last thing I wanted to touch on is budget. Everybody wants to know, hey, what did your kayak cost? Hey, what did these things cost? Well, it's like anything else. It's pretty much whatever you want to spend. You can get used kayaks for 200 bucks on Facebook Marketplace. Okay. You can go to Dick's Sporting Goods. You can go to Walmart. You can get the Lifetime kayaks. My dad has one. I see guys fishing out of them all the time. They're great starter kayaks. Okay. They're good fishing kayaks. They've got rod holders in the back. I don't know all of the specs, but they'll run you, anywhere between, I'm going to say, $300 and $450. Okay, maybe a little bit off on it, but it's going to be somewhere right around in there. The my kayak, the Hoodoo Impulse with the pedal drive or the fin drive, the 12-footer, that was $1,500. So now you really start to jump up in price. Then you get to like the Old Towns. I want to say the Old Town Sportsman was right around $3,000. And then you start getting into the Hobies, the PAs, and you can start getting up into $5,000 or $6,000. Now there was one kayak, which is the most expensive kayak on the market, and I have a picture of it. And if anybody knows the name of this kayak, it's made out of, I'm going to show you a picture. If it's made out, it is made out of carbon fiber. It weighs 40 pounds. It's a 12-foot kayak. It is a fully rigged fishing kayak. It's got rod holders inside the hull. If you guys want to see this thing in action, go onto YouTube. And if you guys know the name of it, put it in the chat box and we'll give you some kudos. But this kayak is $11,000 and it is stripped down. And here it is. It is called an Apex kayak. It's all carbon fiber. Like I said, this 12-foot kayak is 40 pounds. This thing is light. The demo that they had on the water that I watched on YouTube, the maneuverability is absolutely outstanding. I mean, the speed of this thing being so light, it is stable. The guy was popping up in it. This thing, I want to say, was almost 35 or 36 inches wide. I mean, you're talking almost 3 feet. The seat in this swivels 360. And this guy had all of his fishing gear in the back. And he spun right around, got his fishing gear, spun back around. And this little area right here, this is all hollow up in here. And he had his fish finder mounted in here, his batteries up in here, some dry bags, all of that. So yeah, so again, if you guys are in the market of an $11,000 fishing kayak, this one is right up your alley. So that is the Lamborghini of fishing kayaks. But again, it's whatever your budget can afford. Go out and and shop those things because they really are all over the place. I only showed you guys like 5 kayaks going over the weight capacities from Titan to Bonafide to Hoodoo to Hobie, Old Town, but there is Hammerhead. Heath has a Hammerhead. There's man, I'm just there's more kayaks out there than you can shake a stick at. So go out, shop them, just go to the internet, put up fishing kayaks, and you're gonna get all kinds of hits on them. So guys, hopefully that helps you out a little bit. I'm actually going to be doing a video and maybe a 1 or 2 part video on purchasing kayaks, and then after you purchase the kayak, looking for gear that you guys need to have for a fishing kayak and outfitting a kayak. So look for that here in probably the next week or two. So guys, it is 8:30. Let's talk about the weekend. It looks like Saturday is going to be really a halfway decent day to get out and fish. I think I saw like 6, 8 mile an hour winds out of the north or maybe northwest. So it looks like in the morning time up till about noon, it looks like it's going to be an incoming tide to high tide. And then from, I'm going to say like noon, 1 o'clock on to the rest of the day, I think it's kind of a falling tide. So I am going to get out on Saturday. I don't know where I'm going to go yet. I'm kicking around maybe going to Charleston. But again, I don't know. I think it's going to be kind of a game day decision whether I may just stick here in excuse me, in Merle's Inlet and and maybe just kind of get out and hunt and peck around. It has been since before Christmas since I've been out on the water. So I'm going to get out. I'm probably going to pick up maybe some shrimp and try some shrimp on the bottom. I'm still going to have all of my plastics over there. I'm going to be throwing a 4-inch jerk shad. I'm going to be doing some stuff on a Ned head, some slim swims over there, some minnow Z's, and some real small profiles, keeping them low and slow. I saw that Stephen Trainer was out on the water, out on his Facebook page, and he caught some very nice redfish, and I think he also caught a pretty decent flounder. So, the fish are hitting right now. The weather has been pretty consistent over the last 3 or 4 days. And again, it's going to be in the 60s on Saturday. Sunday looks like it's going to get pretty windy, maybe, mid-teens, that 15. So if you kind of go out, just be careful, find yourself some protected areas, and I think you'll probably do just fine. But, I think that's going to be my weekend. I think I'm going to try to get out on Saturday. So Steve did say, okay, Steve said the water is back into the 50s. So the water temperature is back in the 50s. That's good. And he said we did have a trout kill. Yeah, so I do know that North Carolina had a fairly significant trout kill. I did put out their publication saying that basically they have shut down trout season until I believe June. And then I think they're going to go back in and decide if they're going to shut it down for the rest of the year or open it up in June. But as of right now, I haven't heard anything about South Carolina. So just make sure that you are checking the regulations. Don't take my word for it. Get on SCDNR and check those regulations and make sure that everything is good. I haven't heard anything, so I think South Carolina is still good. I'm sure we probably had a little bit of a trout kill, depending on, if those trout stayed up, in some shallow areas, and then as it got real cold, they may have got stuck back in some shallow areas. But I think we probably fared pretty well. I haven't heard any significant, stunted trout. So that was a good thing. So, all right, guys. I appreciate everybody. Hopefully, you guys didn't miss Katie Joe too much. Like I said, I will touch base with her. She had the flu. For those of you who got on late, she had the flu. she contacted me, and we'll get her rescheduled in the next week or two as soon as she starts to feel better. And guys, again, I appreciate each and every one of you. I will see you out on the water. Again, I'm going to probably head out on Saturday. Again, not exactly sure which way I'm going to go. Game day decision when I get up, and we're going to go that way. So, guys, appreciate you. If you catch fish, shoot them to me. Let me see. Let me see what you caught them on. And I will see you next week, guys. Appreciate you. Y'all have a great weekend.